Hello! I have another sketchbook flip through for you. This one is more feeling like a junk journal, regular journal with just sketches in it. It is also the fastest one I've ever done, which I think it's the quickest because of that. You'll see when we get into it that it's not quite as polished as the other ones, but this is from September of this year to November of this year. So I'm excited, and I will see you on the other side. So I'll start off with the usual of telling you who made the stickers. These three here are my wife, Anna Lily Arts. And then we've got Coffee Coffins. And this one is Bratty Bree. And this one is Kari J. And then the rest, oh, this is obviously Punk with a Camera. And the other ones are from the sticker subscription I used to have. And then in here, we went to Portland. And this was a sticker from a little free box. But it's Mutagen Pre-Show, and it's actually a playlist that you can find online. And then Mango Milk Studio. And then these ones here are my wife again. I made that one. Here's another one of Poe. And then Artful Endeavors. And Coffee Coffins again. And this is actually a temporary tattoo. If you didn't know, you can put temporary tattoos on paper. So this was my very first Art Talons Royal. I think that's how you say it. How it goes. Art Creation Talons. Anyways, so I was testing out how watercolor works on it and some of the other like pens and whatnot to see if they bleed through or how they play with it. And then in here, I made a little chamomile fairy. That was kind of a fun little way to upcycle with the old tea packages. And then my wife had never seen Ghibli movies, or most of them, so we watched them all over the series of the months that were in this. And that was really fun. And then I was trying to teach her how to draw water, but I couldn't remember exactly how. I had kind of dyslexified it. So then we watched some videos on it. I wasn't having a good day there. Here's just a Neurographica with some Zentangles sort of things filling it in. This is another, a big thing happened and it just happened. This is actually the day that Wes adopted my husband and I as co-parents. It was really fun. We went to the fair together. And my husband really loves Joey Chestnut, so I always write down the random factoids that he decides to throw at us. And on that day, he ate 295 chicken nuggets. That's a lot of nuggies. On this day, I took myself on a little self-date, and I went to the park, and I painted this willow tree. And my friend Abby came and joined me for a little bit there. That was pretty fun. And then here's just another Neurographica with Zentangles in it. And I forgot to fill that in, but that's also okay. Here I was playing with crayons, which I don't really prefer, but it's kind of nice sometimes just to play around with them. A little pumpkin and a fairy lady. One of my stickers. Just a little feeling. A lot of times I'll take inventory in here or what I need to print out. And then my little pixie rubbish. And here I tried to do one of those laptop drawings that I've seen online because I thought they looked so fun to do, and this was pretty fun. Sometimes I like to pretend to type on it. You can hear my dog in the background. He is tucking himself into bed and he always makes little noises. This was really fun. So there's a man named James Julier here on YouTube, and he does Procreate tutorials. So I followed along with this tutorial, and then I decided to take the techniques and do them with more traditional media, and I really like how this came out. I think it's a fun exercise to try to take digital techniques and put them into the physical. And then here we were watching a video on how to draw clouds. We were just being silly with it. This was the fall equinox, and this is my list of things I was grateful for. I love Sophie McPike, so I wrote down one of her quotes. Sketchbooks are sandcastles. And this one here, I was doodling and then the pen exploded on me, so then I just did a bunch of other stuff. We went to Seattle and we got to see Kingfisher in concert, which was really cool. And then we went to the Museum of Illusions. This was a comic submission to Spokane Sequential again. This one is called Hand Me Down, and it was published in the October edition called The Curse. Here's just some little Halloween doodles. Just a silly little inside joke. Fairy. And then just playing around with watercolor again. Boys, behave please. Sorry about that, I had to go put them outside. I was playing with watercolors. If you look at that one again, because I'm probably going to have to cut out the Borkin. And then I doodled on an M&M's wrapper. Sometimes I like to take pieces out of magazines and then just draw on them, and I was in a little ghost mood. Then here is some pictures from our trip to Seattle, my little packing list. And then my beautiful wife and our cute little son. And then here's more just doodles. This we were at the park, I believe in Capitol Hill, and I was drawing all the dogs I could find in the park as quickly as possible, and then little figure studies really quick because people were moving around a lot. But it was fun to try to capture at least the essence of them. My wife was crafting on the train home, which was really cute. And then this was a bird I saw out the window. And here's more just little things from our trip. I drew these on the train. This one is watercolors, and then mixed with the Neurographica, which was kind of a fun experiment to try. I love this one. I absolutely love The Last Unicorn. The art style of it just inspires me a lot. So I tried to paint in the style of their landscapes, and then made a little window. There's me on my guitar with my little kitty cat. And this picture actually became a Spot the Difference because I drew two of the same foot, so I had to fix it digitally. And then I thought, how fun would it be to fill in the rest of it as Spot the Differences? So that'll be in an upcoming zine, hopefully pretty soon. More scribbles and some quotes. And then I was testing out, this is actually nail polish. And then the Kuretake watercolors. And then this is an image I saw on Pinterest. And I put lots of inspirational quotes in here because I just felt like I wanted them in there this time. This is a Sophie McPike Scribble Brigade. And it was scenes from Disney movies. And then we watched Hamilton. And then we watched Dumbo, and I messed up on writing Dumbo, so I just did a silly little thing there. And then there's a Jellyfint, and the gift ideas, and I ended up doing none of those, so you can look at them all you want, but that's not what's happening if you know me and you're looking at that. Here we were playing with watercolors and bubbles, like soap bubbles, and so it made the really fun textures in there. And then I did Neurographica and Zentangle around it. And then this one was so pretty, I just put some eyes on it. But otherwise I didn't really want to mess with it too much. Same with this one here. This one was gold inks inside the bubbles. And then blue ink. And here I just got into, they're like pastel crayons, but they also react well with water. So this spread is just those crayons and then I put water over it because then it doesn't transfer anymore. I'm not sure how that works, but I really like it. A little love song I wrote for my wife. Here I was having a hard time sleeping, so I just kind of journaled about it. And it was fun to do in a spiral and mess around with my dyslexia. Use it as a skill. That's not out yet, but I have submitted it. This was done by Coffee Coppins, which is Abby. And then here I found an image on Pinterest, and then I found the gal on Instagram as well. I will put her name in the description. But she did cyanotypes, and I wanted to draw the cyanotype. So that was really fun to figure out how to do the highlights and all of that in Just Blues. Oh, and my son made this sticker here. And then my wife and I were sheet ghosts for Halloween this year. And we watched Belle, and we watched Ponyo. And then we've been rewatching, or we already fully watched The Good Place. And I love Jason Mendoza, he's so funny. My cat passed away on the 3rd of November. He was 16 years old, so I just did a little memorial thing for him here. And this was actually on November 1st, but we went to Jupiter's Eye, and so I doodled our selfie together. And then that's my husband at the park on the 8th. And then the 3 of us did a blobs challenge. So we each kind of made some blobs, and then we each turned them into little creatures. And that was really fun. And then here I drew a dragon over a pre-inked background. And then a selfie. I like it, but also it feels more caricature and not quite what I was going for, but I do like it. And then more just white colored pencil over pre-inked backgrounds. This was another Scribble Brigade. This was the stamps one. I really like that. And then I doodled me and my wife being gay. And then some pansies. And then here I did little squares of color first, and then I doodled things that were around me. And I like that this duck peeks through the hole here. And more just little doodles. And then a lady on a star, and then I did stamps, and then filled them in with either things that are around me or just silly little things. We've been watching a ton of Project Runway, and I love trying to sketch out little outfits and things. And here we decided to do some art studies of The Last Unicorn. And that was really cool. We did 3 different scenes. Here's the next one. And then that one. And then I was in the Krampus show this year at Petunia and Loomis. And I did this guy here. Oh, actually, let me... So this was the initial sketch, but this is what came out of it. So that was pretty fun. That's just a print of it. The original is still in the show. And then more clothing design. We watched some Yu-Gi-Oh! And I went to the casino for the first time in like 15 years, and it was not worth it. I do not recommend. The milkshake was good. That was about it. And that's the end of the book. There's a sticker from Coffee Coffins, and then from my son. And then back here we've got 2 more Coffee Coffins, and these are both the Anastasia art. And then I don't know where these came from. People gave them to me. But I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have some fun in your sketchbook today. Bye.